Hello there, lovely people, and welcome back to the Atomic Friends Show. Today you're in for a real treat as we dive into a little gem that's made quite the splash, Sea of Stars. It's a retro-inspired RPG brought to us by the talented folks over at Sabotage Studio. Now, this isn't just any nostalgia trip, it's a beautifully crafted journey blending classic turn-based combat with a stunningly modern twist. What's so special about Sea of Stars, you ask? Well, let's just say, it's got more than a few tricks up its sleeve. We'll be looking at everything from the intricately woven story to the strategic combat that'll keep you on your toes. Oh, and the soundtrack? Pure magic. Might even rival some of the best out there. But hold on to your hats because we'll get to all that in just a moment. So, whether you're a seasoned RPG veteran or just fancy a good adventure, you're in the right place. Let's get into it, shall we? Right. Let's dive a bit deeper into the story and world of Sea of Stars, shall we? Picture this. A rich, vibrant world where two children of the solstice are tasked with a grand mission to fend off a looming evil. And how, you ask? By harnessing the powers of the sun and moon to wield something called eclipse magic, a right cracker of a concept if you ask me. This little RPG wonder isn't just another throwback. Sabotage Studio, who also brought us The Messenger, has crafted this with such love for the genre, it's impossible not to be swept away. They've combined modern sensibilities with a stunning, retro-inspired art style, seamlessly blending pixel art with breathtaking animations. You'll find yourself wandering through lush forests, mystical caves, and even crystal-clear waters, each one feeling like a little work of art. Now, here's a bit of trivia for you. The game's soundtrack is composed by none other than Yasunori Mitsuda, the legendary mind behind Chrono Trigger. Yes, you heard right. And if that doesn't already get your nostalgia senses tingling, I don't know what will. Sea of Stars was met with plenty of excitement even before its release, and it's easy to see why. Fans of classic RPGs and newcomers alike were buzzing about its tactical combat and rich story. It's a game that truly feels like it was crafted by people who not only love the genre, but respect it deeply. It's as if they've taken the best parts of RPG history and woven them into a fresh, unique tapestry that stands all on its own. And with that, we're just getting started, mates. Stick around as we jump into the nuts and bolts of gameplay. Trust me, there's a lot to love there. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the gameplay. Sea of Stars doesn't just rest on beautiful visuals and a compelling story. The gameplay itself is robust, engaging, and surprisingly layered. First off, we've got a turn-based combat system that feels anything but static. Timing is everything here. You're not just pressing attack and watching things unfold. You're actively involved, hitting the right moments for extra damage or timing blocks to reduce incoming hits. It's simple enough to grasp early on but tricky to master, which keeps you on your toes in the best way. And there's more. Eclipse magic, honestly, it's one of the most satisfying mechanics in the game. You've got Zale and Valere pulling off these sun and moon infused attacks that look as impressive as they feel. It's all about synergy between the characters, and it pushes you to think ahead and use each ability wisely, especially in boss fights where every move counts. One thing I particularly loved was the pacing. The game balances combat, exploration, and puzzle solving so well that you're constantly engaged. There's no rush to level up or grind, and each encounter feels meaningful. They've done a fine job making sure that the experience doesn't feel repetitive, which, let's be honest, can be a pitfall in turn-based RPGs. And let's talk difficulty. It's challenging, but fair. There's just the right amount of resistance to keep you on your toes without being punishing. Even when you're up against tougher foes, it feels like the game's encouraging you rather than slapping you down. You get that little nudge to adjust your strategy, maybe think of a new approach, and it's rewarding when you finally land that perfect combo. Finally, one of my favourite little touches, interacting with the environment. Whether it's solving clever little puzzles or using abilities outside of combat to progress, Sea of Stars keeps you immersed by making the world feel interactive beyond the usual point A to point B approach. In short, the gameplay in Sea of Stars is more than just a means to an end. It's designed to pull you in, make you think, and above all, make you feel like part of this world. I honestly can't get enough of it. All right, my friends, let's chat about the absolute feast for the senses that is Sea of Stars. Visually, this game is a marvel. Sabotage Studio didn't just dip their toes into retro graphics. They've crafted something that feels both nostalgic and utterly fresh. Every single pixel has purpose, every colour is vibrant. We're talking lush forests, shimmering waters, and night skies so dazzling, you'll find yourself pausing just to take it all in. The animation, smooth as butter. It's like the characters are dancing across the screen, even when they're just dashing through a village or launching into combat. And speaking of combat, the visual effects, especially that eclipse magic, are mesmerizing, like watching fireworks on a starlit night. Now let's talk sound, because Sea of Stars doesn't pull any punches there either. The soundtrack, oh, it's pure bliss. Having Yasunori Mitsuda on board, yes, the same Mitsuda behind Chrono Trigger, well, let's just say it's like having an orchestra of emotions playing along with you. Every note, every swell in the music seems crafted to draw you deeper into the world. The tunes are both haunting and uplifting, perfect for setting the mood whether you're in a sunlit meadow or a dark, mystical cavern. And it's not just the music. The sound effects are spot on too. Whether it's the crackle of a spell or the crunch of footsteps on gravel, every sound feels intentional. It's as if the world itself has a voice, whispering to you, coaxing you to explore just a bit further. Together, the visuals and sound make Sea of Stars feel like a living, breathing place. It's more than just graphics and audio. It's atmosphere, it's magic. This game doesn't just ask you to play, it practically invites you to lose yourself in its world. Now let's talk story, because Sea of Stars has gone all out in creating a narrative that feels rich, engaging and, dare I say it, rather profound. At its heart, Sea of Stars is a classic tale of light versus dark, but it's told with such care that it feels fresh, even familiar in the best way. You're following the journey of two children of the solstice, Valere and Zale, as they grow into their powers to take on a looming evil. But trust me, it's not all predictable heroics. There are twists, and some of them hit harder than a crit on your worst day. The storytelling structure itself is quite clever, weaving in layers of lore and myth that deepen as you go along. You'll get snippets of backstory not just from our main heroes, but from the world itself, as if it's speaking to you through ancient relics and forgotten temples. The pacing, too, is spot on. It gives you time to breathe in the quieter moments and then sweeps you right back into the action. And these characters, they're not just your standard RPG archetypes. Oh no. Valere and Zale are refreshingly complex, plucky and determined, yes, but they each have their own internal struggles, making them feel genuine. You'll feel the weight of their responsibility and catch glimpses of their vulnerabilities. Then, of course, there are the side characters, a bit eccentric, each with a personality all their own. They add humour, tension and heart in just the right doses. In the end, the story and characters don't just add to the game, they make it. They're what elevates Sea of Stars beyond the mechanics and the visuals, turning it into an experience that's as emotional as it is adventurous. So if you're after a game that doesn't just entertain but leaves an impression, well, this one does the trick nicely. Now, let's get a bit personal, shall we? Playing Sea of Stars felt a bit like finding an old beloved book you'd half forgotten on a shelf. Right from the start, I was enchanted by the pixel art. It's charming, vibrant, and, honestly, it has this warmth that you don't quite get with hyper-realistic graphics. Every scene felt like a mini artwork, as if the whole world was painted just to draw you in. I found myself lingering in certain areas longer than I needed to, just admiring the detail, the care. Gameplay-wise, I was hooked from the start. There's a rhythm to the combat that I found surprisingly satisfying. Getting those perfect timing hits down was a challenge, but once you get the knack, it's incredibly rewarding. And honestly, I can't say enough about how well the whole game is balanced. There were moments that tested my patience. Don't we all love those boss battles? But it's the kind of game where every challenge feels fair, even when it's tough as nails. As for comparisons, well, Sea of Stars stands proudly alongside the classics in my humble opinion. It's a love letter to games like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana, but with a few new tricks that make it feel fresh. It doesn't just rely on nostalgia, it builds on it, creating something that's both a tribute and a unique journey all its own. What I loved most? Besides the visuals, it has to be the sheer heart in every corner of this game. You can feel that the folks at Sabotage Studio poured their souls into this one. Least favourite part? Well, if I'm nitpicking, a couple of fetch quests here and there slowed things down a touch, but nothing to really detract from the experience. All in all, Sea of Stars isn't just a game, it's a bit of an adventure for the heart and mind. If you're a fan of RPGs, or even just love a good story with stunning visuals, I'd say you're in for a treat. So, to wrap it all up, Sea of Stars truly delivers an experience that's both nostalgic and refreshingly modern. It brings us a captivating story of light versus dark, packed with charming pixel art, smooth and satisfying combat, and a soundtrack that just sweeps you off your feet. From the depth of its characters to the beauty of its world, every piece feels crafted with love and respect for the genre. Now, for the rating, I'd say this gem deserves a solid 9 out of 10. It's got heart, it's got style, and it's a joy to play. A few minor quibbles aside, it's the kind of game that leaves a lasting impression, and I'd wager it'll find a spot in many players' favourite lists. So, who's this game for? If you're a fan of classic RPGs or simply someone looking for a beautifully crafted adventure, this one's for you. Whether you're there for the combat, the story, or just to soak in that gorgeous pixel art, Sea of Stars offers something for just about everyone. Right, that's it from me. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, if you enjoyed this review, do give us a like, share your thoughts below, and hit that subscribe button for more. Thanks for joining me here on the Atomic Friends Show. Remember, wherever the pixels may take you, keep that curiosity burning. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and as always, game on.
Before we sign off, don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed our review, and subscribe to our channel for more game reviews and fun-filled content. Remember, every like, share, and subscribe helps us bring you more content you love.